Well, Prime Minister Julia Gillard has described the scene in Christchurch as truly shocking. Australia has responded quickly with search and rescue teams already on their way to the devastated city.
A deadly quake in a city still rebuilding from the last one.
The people of Canterbury are once again going through a traumatic and frightening experience. My thoughts, and I'm sure the thoughts of this House, are with the people of Canterbury. The government stands alongside you now and for however long it takes to repair and rebuild your region.
Across the Tasman, politics took a back seat to compassion.
We are seeing some remarkable acts of heroism, and I think we can say that today in Christchurch the Anzac spirit is on display.
Just days after visiting our neighbours, Julia Gillard was quick to offer Australia's assistance.
Anything we've got that they need, we will get to them. They have already requested a search and rescue team, and that is literally on its way.
The bonds of love stretch tight and close across the Tasman. Our thoughts and prayers are with the people of New Zealand at this time, and I am sure the Coalition entirely echoes the statement of the Prime Minister that Australia stands ready to do whatever we practically can to help.
Australia will be sending over in the next few hours an advance rescue team, and that will be followed up during the course of tonight at 6:30 in New Zealand now. It will be followed up during the course of tonight with a heavy urban search and rescue team from New South Wales. It will be about 70 strong.
All relevant deployable assets in Australia are either ready, being made ready, or are in an advanced state of readiness.
1 million Aussies visit Christchurch every year. Among those visitors, the Australian women's cricket team, all safe and accounted for.
The building started to make a bit of noise, and then the floor started to move around like a surfboard, I suppose. A massive big concrete slab moving around under your feet. So it was quite a weird feel.
The shallow tremor hit the South Island's largest city with a population of around 350,000 at the height of a busy working day. Fatalities were avoided in September's earthquake, despite being more powerful, because it struck just before 5 a.m. and people were at home asleep. But there was no such luck today.
Oh, it would have been felt fairly extensively. I think they felt it on both islands of New Zealand, as you'd expect. We just don't know the full extent of that. It depends on each earthquake.
Today's quake was 5 times stronger than the one that hit Newcastle, north of Sydney, in 1989. Other buildings, many with historical significance, have borne the full brunt of the shake.
Before the previous earthquake, they knew that this might happen. And because of that, New Zealand has one of the somehow best and most stringent building requirements in our region.
Anyone with concerns for friends and family is urged to contact the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade on 1300 555 135. Gabrielle Boyle, 10 News.
TV chef Ian Hewitson was in Christchurch when the quake struck. He joins us now from the devastated city. Ian, a very terrifying experience for everyone who was there. What's your account of what happened?
Well, it certainly was terrifying. And actually, we were in a restaurant about 10 minutes away from the centre of the city, and it just collapsed around us. I mean, it really did. And the next thing, they're carrying out chefs. And I must admit, everyone that was with me was a bit, sort of shell-shocked. We didn't quite know, but the staff were great. They got us out there. But, I think the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life is that wonderful Canterbury Cathedral, which was built in the 1800s, has just fallen down. Look, there's, a bit of it left, but the spire's gone, inside's wrecked. And there's buildings all over the place that didn't fall down the last earthquake. So it really is a very sad city at the moment, and the aftershocks are happening all the time.
Ian, are you and everybody you're with okay?
Yeah, no, the guys with us, we're all fine. I don't know when we're going to get out of here, because we were leaving, because we've been over here filming, and we'd finished our 2 weeks here, and we were leaving this afternoon, but of course the airport's shut, and we're at the Commodore Hotel, which is just down the road from the airport, and there's about 500 people here. So I think we're all going to be sleeping on the floor.
Tell us, what did it feel like when it struck?
It felt like, I suppose, a roller coaster, because what actually happened was, the paths and all those things just came up, in the centre. And you sort of didn't quite know what was happening, but it was just horrific because it was shaking so much and there was so much noise. And as I said, we were right in the centre of it, right in the centre of the city. And I think at the end of the day, you sit there a bit shocked at the beginning. And I'm a New Zealander. I come from the Shaky Isles, so I've been through a few, but this is the worst thing I've ever seen. And the people were just screaming and were just terrified.
OK, thank you so much, Ian, for speaking with us. We really do appreciate it. All the best and take care.
Right. Thank you very much. Bye.
TV chef Ian Hewitson talking to us from the obviously very devastated Christchurch.
Well, Christchurch is known as the city of churches. The cathedral, a source of pride for the city for more than a century, as you've heard, is among the key landmarks turned to rubble by the earthquake today.
Christchurch, New Zealand's third largest city, rocked for the third time in 6 months. At 6.3 on the Richter scale and 5 kilometres deep, the magnitude wasn't as great as September's quake, but the epicentre was just 10 kilometres from the city, making the damage unimaginable. The cathedral in the heart of Christchurch is a tourism hotspot and one of the country's most famous icons. It was built in the 19th century and survived relatively unscathed all other earthquakes on this deadly fault line, but not today's. The spire toppled into the town square.
It's just huge. It is huge. And the buildings are buildings. The really important thing are the people, and we just don't know if there are people under this rubble. I fear there are. So.
370,000 people live in Christchurch. Tens of thousands were in the city hub when the quake ripped through it. 4 blocks away from the cathedral, the Pine Gould building crumbled while hundreds of workers were trapped inside. Survivors were evacuated from the roof of what was left of the 4-storey building. Cashel Mall in the centre of the city has been described as a war zone. Dozens of restaurants and shops have been obliterated.
It was just waiting for a mill, and then the bloody thing happened. It was just it was tremendous. I mean, I've been in some dangerous places, but nothing like this.
Christchurch's airport has been evacuated and shut down until further notice. But perhaps the most horrific facts of all are those we don't yet know. Just how far the destruction has stretched and how many lives it's claimed. Natasha Rexelby, 10 News.
Flights to and from New Zealand were thrown into chaos by the disaster. Dozens of worried New Zealanders have spent much of the day at Melbourne Airport anxiously waiting to get home. Reporter Kate Creedon joins us live from there. Kate, what's the situation with flights at the moment?
Hermione, New Zealand flights in and out of Melbourne have been disrupted after the country's airspace was shut down immediately after the quake. Now, planes were grounded and airbound flights to Christchurch were diverted to Auckland or Wellington. Both those airports have now reopened, but passengers travelling there face lengthy delays. That news is, of course, incredibly distressing for New Zealand nationals who just want to get home to family and friends.
It's worse than September. Buildings have actually collapsed. There's been a death already in the central city.
I'm terrified to think of what I have to go home to. It's a pretty scary thought. I've just been watching it on the news and it's horrible.
As we heard earlier, Christchurch Airport has reopened for emergency and evacuation flights only. Commercial flights at this stage remain closed or remain shut down. Airlines are calling for all passengers to contact them before travelling or before coming to the airport. Hermione.
Thanks so much, Kate, for the update. Kate Creedon live from Melbourne Airport.
Helen Kapelos and the 10 reporting team are actually on their way to Christchurch. We'll have reports from them once they're on the ground.
More on the devastating Christchurch quake later this news hour. But coming up after the break, a victim of the St Kilda Festival bomb attack speaks out. And the Nixon saga continues as the manager jets out of Australia.
Coming up on 6 p.m, more from the New Zealand earthquake where Christchurch is a scene of devastation. We talk to people caught up in it and to seismic experts to try and unravel why Christchurch again. Join us at 6.